Welcome to Politically Unstable with Charles Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor. I'm your host, Andy Parks, and I'd like to remind you that you qualify for a 50% discount on an annual digital subscription to the Washington Times simply by going to washingtontimes.com/Andy. That's washingtontimes.com/ANDY. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Washington Times opinion editor Charles Hurt. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, Andy. How you doing, buddy?
Doing just fine. Biden declares war on America, literally. I watched the speech. We're a week removed now, and I'm so glad. What a piece of work.
Yeah, it's really amazing how depressing that whole speech was. But nothing was more depressing than this idea that, he's going to bring the global war on terror home because the real threat, America, is you. It's not the Iranian theocrats who want to destroy religious liberty and literally blow up the U.S. Capitol. Literally, they had a video.
I saw it.
They released a video. They're blowing up the U.S. Capitol. That's not the real threat. You know what the threat is? Racists in America.
Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, watching that, or a little bit of it, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. You got some people wearing double masks, even though they've all been vaccinated. And, I mean, it was so ridiculous.
Yeah, explain this to me. I don't get it. This is the single most extensive effort I've ever seen to discredit something, and in this case, the vaccines. This bipartisan effort to discredit vaccines is like nothing we've ever seen before. How many people? There were probably 250 people, 300 people in the chamber there,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
far less than the 1,000 people that usually are sitting in there. But all these people, every single one of them has been vaccinated, yet they're all masked and double masked. I mean, the massive effort underway to discredit vaccines is just like nothing I've ever seen. And we knew that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are anti-vaxxers. We know that they're anti-science. All these people are the most anti-science people on earth. Kamala Harris was discouraging people from getting the vaccine from going back to the summer because President Trump is the reason that we have the vaccines. So she was trying to discourage people from getting. And we already know that she's an anti-vaxxer. But I don't understand why Republicans in the chamber last week would go along with this anti-vaccine campaign. Every single one of those Republicans sitting there with a mask on in the chamber should get up and resign from office. They don't belong to represent the good people who unfailingly go to the polls every 2 years and vote for these idiot Republicans.
Yeah.
They have lost the trust of the good American people who love this country. It really is shocking to me.
Yeah, and sadly, they don't recognize it. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, exactly. They're just completely oblivious to all of it. And it's the lack of vision also that it just amazes me. They don't have the courage and they don't have the vision to say, you know what? You can sit here and do all you can to discredit the vaccines. We are not going to discredit the vaccines. We are going to come in here and we're going to take our masks off. That's it. And then on top of that, anyway, they're socially distanced anyway because it was like every third chair or something like that they were sitting in. And if you've never been in the House chamber is it's a massive hall. It's the size of like a monster truck arena, and you had like 20 people in there. And not only, they were also spaced out, so they were like up in the balcony in the gallery going around. I wasn't there. I rarely miss these things. The camera never panned over to show the peanut gallery where the press usually sits behind the speaking dais. I'm sure they even threw out half of the press or 2/3 of the press.
Yeah, I'm sure.
From behind there.
Yeah. And then, by contrast, you see the picture of Dr. Jill and Joe with the Carters in Georgia with no mask on. It looked like it was a comedy. I mean, it really was. He had a mask on outside, Joe Biden did, and then he goes inside and takes it off.
I think they're trying to kill the Carters because they realize that Jimmy Carter is still 17,000 times more exciting than Joe Biden. And I guess that Joe Biden just sees Jimmy Carter as like competition. It is truly insane. And then they walk outside and then poor Mrs. Carter is like wheeling out behind them down the sidewalk, and Joe Biden puts his mask on. Also, what about that picture? That picture was really weird. If you didn't look at it, you have to look at the picture. Since we now live in a land of conspiracy theories where Kamala Harris and the entire Democratic Party is hell-bent on discrediting vaccines, we may as well just go ahead and talk about all conspiracy theories. Were they actually there? Because it kind of looked like, the movie Elf at the end, where Elf goes back and is trying to sit on the lap of his dad. That's what it looked like. President Biden and the First Lady, they looked like Elf. There were these giant, enormous characters, and they were sitting there. And then you have little mini Rosalind and Jimmy Carter sitting there and stuffed in the back cracks of their overstuffed chairs. It looked like the giants had come back to the elf village to visit.
Another part of the Biden speech dealt with how great the government is, and you should be so happy that we're here.
What the hell was that all about?
Yeah, I know.
What was it? What was the line? The line was, "We are the government is we the people," or something. It was such a strange distortion of how people talk about all of it. No, actually, the whole point of it is the actual opposite of that. The government is supposed to be answerable to no one but the people.
Right.
They have it all backwards. The people, in Joe Biden's world, we the people, are supposed to be answerable to and subservient to the government, the federal government. That's their mindset. And it is interesting. It's so funny to sort of dismiss all of this stuff with Joe Biden as something new. And truth is, he's always been this guy. And he's never been taken seriously. He's run for president an infinite number of times, and nobody ever wanted him. Democrats have never wanted him. He has a really twisted view of America, of the government, and the role that the federal government is supposed to play in our lives. It's really strange.
Yeah. One of your other columns, "For the Love of Dog, Burn Your Face Mask." What made you come up with this one?
Well, it's funny. I don't know. The last time you were walking down the street in a city, coming back to D.C., and actually the first time I started to notice it was actually not wearing a mask. And all these dogs, they look at you and they're so happy to see you. And they start wagging and they're panting, and then the next person walks by and they're wearing these god-awful masks outside, which is idiotic to begin with, and they're probably vaccinated.
Yeah.
And they're wearing, and the dog looks at them in absolute terror. And if you think about the relationship between dogs and man, goes back 10, 15,000 years. Obviously, dogs are, by nature, faces are not something that dogs naturally cue upon. They're more interested in the other end, which is why dogs, they go up to one another and they sniff their back ends. But because of their association with humans, over 15,000 years, they have learned to look at human faces, and that becomes their portal into our souls. And they've become so good at it over the centuries that actually they get jobs looking at people's faces and determining whether or not they're about to have a breakdown, they're stressed. They get jobs doing this.
Yeah, sure.
And then all of a sudden, humans, because of all this insanity, this new religion about wearing masks, they throw it all out the window and they say, oh no, every day for these dogs is like Night of the Living Dead. Every single day is like the zombie apocalypse. They're looking up at all of these people, and they're all wearing hoods. Their faces are hooded, and the dogs are terrified.
Yeah.
Can we just stop the politics? We get it. You still hate Donald Trump. You don't like the vaccine. You don't like whatever. But can we just stop and think about the dogs?
Yeah.
And just for the, if you love animals, if you love dogs, take your GD mask off and throw it away. Stop terrorizing the dog.
There you
please.
go. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, you can read all of Charlie Hurt's columns at WashingtonTimes.com. All right, take your mask off and throw it away. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, buddy.
See ya. Thanks for listening to Politically Unstable with Charlie Hurt. Remember, you can read all of Charlie's columns and check out our vast podcast selection at WashingtonTimes.com. I'm Andy Parks. Have a great day.